The 49er great players are the ones that represent the team concept more than anything else. They've always been the players who wanted to do it because it meant something about winning. That they would become winners and part of a winning organization.
It is the receiver. 9.
What do we got? 3rd and 9. Getting your 7 points here.
All 6 of them, you work your tail off.
5 seconds left. 4, you dreaming? 3, 4.
Number 3.
7 only 2 rushes 2 weeks. 1.
When I think of San Francisco, I think of diversity, the Golden Gate Bridge.
Summer Love, Haight-Ashbury.
I think of Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat.
Land of innovation. You have Google, Facebook.
In a part of the country known for creativity, the San Francisco 49ers have always found their own way to win.
There was a certain vibe about the 49ers that they were above the fray. Yeah, the Bears and the Giants and the Redskins are out there bludgeoning each other, but the 49ers, they've got beautiful plays and the symphony plays when they get the ball.
They think of the West Coast as a finesse. 49ers are a finesse team.
The finesse-ass 49ers will come in the backyard of the Bears and kick ass.
All we cared about is, are we going to win on Sunday?
It sort of makes a case for itself with the 5 Lombardis sitting in the facility.
For a team named after a gold rush, choosing the top 10 brightest Nuggets is no easy task.
A great 49er is somebody who embraces the past and has to produce on the field, but also bring an extra flair.
He's high-stepping!
It's all about more pizzazz.
Put a little oomph and pizzazz into it.
It is very difficult to crack that conversation of the top 10 49ers without a Super Bowl ring.
That's where we get into that thing about, who's on this list and who's not, right? And what's the right order.
I'm wondering why there aren't any coaches on that list.
Coaches have made some generous offers.
In some cases, it may mean a lot of sex.
Hey, I got your toe today, buddy. Thanks for your support. That's not a Raider hat, is it? Don't pass up a profit.
But this list is strictly players only.
Come on. Okay.
A lot of people are going to say, hey, wait a minute, now we need to start the list over.
The number 10 49er of all time, running back Frank Gore.
The inconvenient truth.
Gore's out in the open. It's a foot race.
There's not a more consistent football player than Frank Gore.
Persistent, methodical, but also very gifted.
What explosion.
And I've never been around a player with the heart that Frank Gore has.
I think you ought to wait to see what the book is on Frank Gore when it's all said and done.
He's on the fringe. He might be 11, he might be 10 and a half.
There's no question that Frank Gore belongs on the list. He should be higher on the list than 10. Best running back.
The best running back.
The best running back the 49ers have ever had.
Good day to play football. Great day.
Like the Golden Gate Bridge, great running backs are a fact of life in San Francisco. There's been Joe Perry, Ken Willard, and Roger Craig. But Frank Gore has run for more yards and touchdowns than all of them.
Give to Gore. Frank running right, driving in, touchdown!
Considering the fact now that Frank Gore has become the all-time leading rusher in 49er history, he not only deserves to be on the list, but maybe even a couple steps higher than 10.
You talk about a complete back. This guy does it all. He can run the football.
Gore cutting left 50. Gore still going to the 45. Frank Gore still on his feet.
He can pass block.
He was like, you want to play big boy football? Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He can catch.
Now throws the ball up the sideline. Gore's got it on the run at the 40.
He has no weaknesses.
1,000-yard rusher, a team record 6 times, Gore carried the 49ers during a 6-year stretch without a winning season.
Throws it right into the hands of a Jet. This game's going to be over.
And yet he's put up this kind of production. He's played on bad teams.
He's going to be patient. He's patient.
Gore has been through all that and has emerged as a great team leader, a great player.
Going to the right, driving in, touchdown 49ers. That's the way to lead us, right?
And frankly, the 49ers don't win without Frank Gore.
Despite 4 trips to the Pro Bowl and an NFC championship, not everyone thinks Gore should be on our list.
2010, touchdown 49ers.
Where it gets a little tough is to compare careers that aren't done with careers that are finished.
For him to be 10th,
I could really push him up.
I think Frank Gore, I'm sorry, buddy, until you have a ring, there's some serious jewelry on the rest of those boys.
He's ahead of some Hall of Famers, but he should be.
Though known for offensive innovation, the 49ers have several defensive players enshrined in Ken. Leo the Lion Namalini never missed a game in 14 years and was named the NFL's all-time defensive tackle thanks to his aggressive style of play.
Yeah, they were rough. If they could kill you, they'd kill you honestly. But nothing dirty. Nothing wrong with drawing a little blood here and there, you know, with the hair.
In the 60s and 70s, linebacker Dave Wilcox earned all NFL honors 5 times.
He was the Dick Butkus of the West Coast. After you were hit, it was like, where was the truck?
A true shutdown corner, 4-time All-Pro defensive back Jimmy Johnson notched 47 career interceptions.
Jimmy Johnson was such a dominant cornerback that nobody threw toward him. I'd put him on the list.
I would like to.
While Hall of Fame credentials are nice, our number 9 49er proves you don't need a bust to make it onto our list.
The number 9 49er of all time, the Elephant, Charles Haley.
Charles Haley was so intense.
A holy terror.
The man made so many plays so often.
Pressure by Haley, and the ball slips out of his hand.
Charles Haley is one of the great players in the history of this game.
One of the most tortured guys I've ever come in contact with.
He should have been on the Raiders.
San Francisco is so known for their offenses, you sometimes fall asleep and forget about the guys that they had on defense.
Our number 9 49er was hard to overlook, leading a defense that ranked in the top 10 in each of his first 6 years, thanks to his animal instincts.
They created a position for Charles Haley, essentially, the elephant position.
And the elephant was a combination defensive end and rush linebacker because he had the size, the strength, and the speed to be able to do that.
Just a speed move by Charles Haley.
Nightmare. Charles Haley was a nightmare. We handed the ball off in a shotgun, and I was supposed to bootleg the other way when we tried to throw it back to the quarterback, and Haley didn't fall for it.
I think it goes back to what an athlete Charles Haley is.
Great player. Was a guy that you always had to account for.
Haley was hard to handle on the field as well as off.
Charles had some issues, but playing football, you play with a lot of guys that have issues.
The most famous Charles Haley story is the one after Ronnie Lott had left the 49ers, and the 49ers go to play the Raiders at the LA Coliseum, and they lost.
Haley was so upset to lose a game with Ronnie Lott on the other side that, you know, he kind of lost it a little bit.
Haley in the 49er locker room went absolutely berserk.
Somebody said, let's call Ronnie.
Because he was one of the few people that understood Charles, and he had to come into the 49er locker room and calm him down so he wouldn't just tear up the whole locker room.
And when it was later, you know, it came out that he was bipolar, then it all fell into place. It was like, oh yeah, exactly.
Despite his issues, Haley had 66.5 sacks and a pair of Super Bowl titles as a 49er.
Charles Haley. Yeah, Haley got him.
You might think he was an odd duck, but in the NFL, it's pretty much about what you do on Sunday.
Haley just speed rushed to the outside.
He wasn't just a guy on those teams. He was the guy on the defensive side of the ball in all of those Super Bowl years.
We're from the new school. We use technique and get the job done to the max.
For all Haley did in San Francisco, his move to Dallas still feels to some like Fredo taking sides against the family.
You can't just flip over to the Cowboys and act as though everything's kosher.
Some people might think of him as a cowboy, and that's a problem.
Haley's got to be docked some points for that.
He is one of the great 49ers ever, and the fact that he went to the Dallas Cowboys later is irrelevant.
After he left the 49ers, people appreciated him more because then it became, if they'd only kept him, how many more Super Bowl rings would the 49ers have?
This has got to be the alley-oop. There's no time for anything else.
When it comes to clutch catches, no team has had more than the 49ers.
Owens is double teamed. He goes up. He's got it. Young almost falls down. Throws to the end zone. Owens! Owens! He caught him! He caught him! Alex looking. Got him. Post, and it's got him! Touchdown! Bernie Davis!
But no catch meant more than the one made by our next 49er.
The number 8 49er of all time, receiver Dwight Clark.
When when you have one of the most iconic catches in football history, I think you deserve to be on the list.
Throwing in the end zone.
Bedlam broke out a candlestick. 49er fans had never seen anything like that.
It's a madhouse at Candlestick.
And that was a heck of a day for the 49ers. The catch got us over the hump and said, we really have arrived.
Dwight Clark started the dynasty.
I know a couple of things about Dwight Clark outside of the catch. Number one, he started the movie straight to video, Kindergarten Ninja.
Hey, you guys got the wrong car.
Obviously, he deserves to be on this list.
Okay, thank you.
He wasn't just a one-hit wonder. He was a very good football player for the 49ers for a lot of years.
A 10th round draft pick, Clark earned the 8th spot on our list with a stellar 9-year career that included 2 Pro Bowls and 2 World Championships. Number 87 retired in 1987 as the 49ers' all-time leading receiver.
Dwight Clark, I believe, is the best all-around receiver in football today. His ability to make the big play when it counts. I don't think there's anyone in the league that does any better than he can do.
He came into the league with enough kind of sparkle and pizzazz to him. Had that kind of Hollywood good looks and a girlfriend who was Miss Universe.
I'm Sean Weatherly, and I'm Miss Universe from 1980, and my 3 favorite football players are Dwight Clark from the San Francisco 49ers, Dwight Clark, and Dwight Clark.
He was a pretty boy, but he didn't play like a pretty boy.
I usually go across the middle and try to mix it up with the linebackers.
Could not intimidate him on the catch, regardless of how many guys hit him. Wasn't going to drop the football.
Dwight and Joe had such chemistry and trust.
They did everything that seemed together, on and off the field.
I'm married now, and Joe's living with my wife and I, so it's like a three's company deal. We were friends first before we became better friends on the field and got that connection going.
That connection paid off in the 1981 NFC title game, producing a play that launched a dynasty.
Throws his pass, caught by Clark. Clark got a touchdown. Dwight Clark has it.
7 seconds to change my whole life and our fans and our teams.
90% of the reason why Dwight Clark is on this list is because he made that catch, and good for him.
Dwight Clark is immortal in San Francisco. If he never did anything else after that one play, I'm sure he'd be immortal in San Francisco.
Dwight Clark has to be thought of as one of the all-time great 49ers, maybe in the top 6. What is he, number 7?
8.
All right, well, boy, you really stiffed him at 8. Move him up in the top 5. Just do it.
We're doing a top 10 show on the best 49ers of all time.
Ricky Waters.
Ricky Waters was a tremendous player.
Ricky Waters makes the catch. Great cut. Gets to the end zone. Touchdown, Ricky Waters.
His big game against the New York Giants in the playoffs.
Touchdown, Ricky, number 5. They playoff record. I got one for my mom, my dad, my sister, and my nephew. Everybody.
He's everything you want. Except Ricky was kind of a pain in the butt at the time. It was about him doing well as much as the team.
I'm young, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
Sorry, Ricky. You got beat out for this list.
Garrison Hearst is right up there. He's one of the greatest players that I've been around.
Hearst produced 3 1,000-yard seasons and the greatest run in 49ers history.
He's down to the 5. Touchdown.
But that wasn't enough to get Garrison on our list.
Boy, he should have.
Another day, another hard dollar, dog.
They got to change that.
Of course, Hearst was no stranger to low blows.
Steve Sable mic'd him one time. And, well, let's just say it. He got kicked in the got hit in the
You were rubbing your all the way off the field.
And I started yelling at him, you don't hold your Garrison.
You been hitting the before?
Yeah, but you fake it.
How you fake grabbing your when you can't fake it?
You get over here.
I tried. I rolled him. I didn't grab him.
Subtle hands helped get another running back on our list.
The number 7 49er of all time, running back Roger Craig.
When you're trying to cast a mold on a football player, Roger Craig's got to be one of those casts.
As the man of steel in the 49ers' multifaceted offense, Roger Craig earned the number 7 spot on our list.
He could do it all. Could run the football, could catch the football.
And I'll tell you, Roger Craig can do so many things for you.
He was a ferocious running back.
A discouraging run for the defense by Roger Craig.
Roger Craig had those knees, man.
The high knees.
Those knees.
That high knee action keeps those feet going like two pistons.
During the period that he was doing it, there was nobody in football better than him.
Roger Craig was the revolutionary back who could hurt you just as much catching the ball out of the backfield as running it.
Roger Craig was a guy running the wishbone in Nebraska who got like 16 passes in his entire 4-year career. But in working him out before the draft, Bill Walsh saw that, hey, this guy can catch the football.
He brought the receiving skill to the running back position at the same time that Bill Walsh wanted to invent that.
Bill Walsh kind of tailored the system around me.
Craig's natural ability as a receiver has turned the dump-off pass into a devastating weapon.
Roger can take the ball deep or short and can run excellent pass patterns. You find ways from that point to get him open.
He was a matchup nightmare. Bill Walsh used him that way.
We know that this guy will have to cover Roger, which is scary for them.
Our number 7 49er of all time, Craig produced one of the greatest seasons by an offensive player in NFL history.
Bill Walsh, he came up to me and said, "We need 1,000 yards out of you, Roger." I covered both areas. I wasn't for sure which category. So I did the receiver 1,000 yards and the rushing 1,000 yards.
Roger Craig has done something that no one else has ever done in the history of the NFL. He's gotten over 1,000 yards rushing and over 1,000 yards receiving.
And the next person to do that was Marshall Faulk 14 years later. That's it. I was the first and Marshall Faulk was the second, which was pretty amazing.
Oh, what a bonanza! My favorite run for Roger Craig.
It's a draw up the middle of Craig, and he breaks loose and runs loose. He gets here to the 30, to the 25. He's down to the 20. Breaks loose again. He's to the 10. 5. Touchdown 49ers. Oh, what a bonanza. Spectacular run by Roger Craig.
And I can still see him in my mind just churning over those guys, just kneeing them in the face.
He knocked a couple people down, knocked a couple of his own players out of the way. Might be the best run of his career.
As a 49er, Craig gained over 11,000 total yards. So why isn't he higher on our list?
Good question. He deserves to be.
Perhaps the 1990 NFC title game played a part.
The Giants have the ball.
I think the fumble versus the Giants when we had a chance to win 3 in a row sort of tarnishes some of the things that he did.
I think he's one of the top 10 all-around backs that's ever played the game.
He absolutely belongs on the top 10 list. I have no argument with number 7.
I think he should be higher than where he is.
7's a good spot for Roger Craig. I think he'd take that.
I feel like I'm in heaven right now.
The number 6 49er of all time, linebacker Patrick Willis.
Wow, Patrick Willis at 6. That is shockingly high.
There's so many snaps that the other team takes, and then Willis is right there.
Yes, sir.
Gosh, 6?
Talk about passion for the game. This guy has it.
We close the door. It's time to play. Boom, man. Let's go. Let's go.
Can we wait until the guy's career is half over, just half over?
A revolutionary force in linebacking. The speed with which he goes side to side.
Tracked down from behind, gorgeous play.
The ferocity that he uses to lay hits.
It's the ferocity of the hit which defines Patrick Willis.
He was one of those guys, when you saw him as a rookie, just the way he hit, it was like, holy.
With expletive talent, our number 6 49er has made it to 6 Pro Bowls in his first 6 years.
Patrick Willis came into the league as a first-round draft pick, and Patrick Willis was a star from the moment he stepped on the field.
He's the prototypical linebacker because he can cover.
Victor Cruz with Willis covering him.
He can rush the passer.
He's pressured, sacked.
He's fast. He can stop the run.
I'll tell you one thing, I'll run up that 52.
We're not looking for guys like Dick Butkus anymore. They're looking for guys like Patrick Willis.
You hurt my feelings, Todd.
I did?
When Visa Signature asked everybody what upgraded experiences really mattered, you suggested luxury car service instead of strength training with Patrick Willis.
Willis made it to Madison Avenue and the number 6 spot on our list with his toughness and passion.
Number 1, he's a leader. He's a guy who plays with a lot of intensity.
Come on, Hey, bring it!
The way he hits people out there, you got to respect him. So, somebody we all look up to.
You're the best we've seen, man, by far.
There's a desire in Patrick Willis that I think is almost second to none.
How bad do we want it?
He has to play great on every play.
He was run down by a linebacker, Patrick Willis.
Despite earning first-team All-Pro honors 5 times and counting, Patrick Willis's spot on our list has spurred some controversy.
Way too early to put Patrick Willis on that type of a list.
It just might be a little too early to do that.
No, I think he's in there. I think he belongs on the list.
If they had won the Super Bowl, maybe.
He's the defensive leader, so he's got to be in there.
Patrick Willis belongs in the top 10 because I think he will finish his career as a Hall of Famer.
We should almost do this a few years down the road. He might even move up higher.
I think if you're putting Willis at number 6, you're kind of rolling the dice and hoping to look good when this airs as a rerun in 5 years.
Dating back to the days of Frankie Albert in the late 40s, no team has produced great quarterbacks quite like the 49ers. In the 50s, Y.A. Tittle was a league MVP. The same for John Brodie in the 60s. Brodie also led the team to 3 straight division titles to start the 70s. In the 80s, Joe, well, we'll get to him later. The next 49er on our list made it happen for the team in the 90s.
And now, the number 5 49er of all time, quarterback Steve Young.
To be 5 on this list, that's pretty impressive.
That's a worthy spot.
I think Steve Young is about where he should be. Too low.
I take exception with your list.
I fell in love with the game of football because of Steve Young. And his playing the position of quarterback like a linebacker.
He dives into the end zone, cuts to the right, pushes off, into the end zone.
Steve Young was exciting in a running around without his helmet kind of way.
He never quit on any play. You can see some of the runs that he made.
He dives, touchdown, 49ers.
He was the running quarterback who progressed into a great throwing quarterback. It was sick, the things that he could do.
Young endured a painful stint in Tampa Bay before coming to San Fran. But in this battered buck, Bill Walsh saw the perfect 49er.
Bill Walsh saw something in him that he liked, and that was right after Joe Montana's back surgery.
And Montana's hurt.
He was told by Bill Walsh, you'll be the quarterback here very shortly. Joe Montana doesn't have much time left.
Well, Joe had 2 more Super Bowls in him that no one was accounting for that.
Talked about wanting to play. I mean, if you want to talk to someone who wants to play, come talk to me.
Steve Young should have known his place. You don't ever disrespect the greatest human being to ever be birthed by a woman.
At some point, the 49ers and Joe Montana had to go through a divorce. Steve Young winds up being the second wife.
Maybe even a large piece of 49er fans died the day that Joe Montana went to Kansas City.
You know, it's like telling the Pope to go home, for heaven's sakes.
Montana's still the best, and he always will be.
And even after Joe left and went to Kansas City, some guys were really upset about that. And they were all feeling like, this guy's gonna have to prove it to us because we don't see it.
Gets back up and it's landed out at the 16-yard line. Then he lost the ball after the second time.
That's just how it was. Steve wasn't Joe. Steve was a good quarterback, but he wasn't Joe. So whatever went wrong, it was because he wasn't Joe at first. He grew on us.
Young takes the number 5 spot on our list as he grew into a Hall of Fame quarterback, winning a record-tying 6 passing titles and earning 2 MVP awards.
The throw, pass to the end zone.
In Super Bowl 29, Young produced the greatest passing performance in Super Bowl history.
Steve Young is now number 1 all time with 6 touchdown passes.
Someone take the monkey off my back, please. Away with that gorilla. It's gone forever.
For years and years, people would say, he's not Joe. He just threw 6 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Oh, Steve, we've always loved you. You're the best.
I never thought he wouldn't win a Super Bowl. I knew he'd get it.
Steve Young should not be a number 5.
I'm gonna have to think about that one for a second.
I'll put him number 5, yeah.
I think you got him right. Maybe number 4.
I think that's about right for Steve.
In my world, he's number 1.
The number 4 49ers of all time, the $1 Million Backfield.
Well, I do kind of remember them a little bit.
The quarterback is Y.A. Tittle.
Y.A. Tittle, great quarterback of the 49ers.
The halfbacks were Hugh McElhenney.
Considered by many the most talented running back ever to play the game.
And Joe Perry.
Joe the Jet Perry, one of the all-time 49er favorites.
And the fullback was John Henry Johnson.
In John Henry Johnson, the 49ers came up with a slashing, powerful runner.
In the mid-50s, the 49ers were the only game in town, and there was nothing more important than those four men.
Kezar Stadium was packed week after week as 49er excitement took over in San Francisco.
What makes them unique is that all four of them wound up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
4 on one side of the ball at the skill positions. I don't think we'll ever see it again.
It was a unique era. They had these 4 great players in the backfield, and it is still legendary in San Francisco.
In the 1950s, our foursome of 49ers at number 4 became some of the best in NFL history. Before his career mark was broken by Jim Brown, Joe the Jet Perry was the league's all-time leading rusher.
He ran a 9.700.
Joe Perry's the first guy in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards in successive seasons.
Think about 1,000 yards back when they're playing 12 games. That's phenomenal.
Joe was twice All-Pro and played 3 times in the Pro Bowl.
Joe the Jet Perry, one of the greatest players in the history of the team.
Hugh McElhenney, swivel hips.
One of the greatest broken field runners the game has ever known.
That's a name that I hear my dad, he kind of gets a wistful look in his eye. Hugh McElhenney, this way, and cutting back that way, and cutting back this way.
A 6-time Pro Bowl halfback, Hugh McElhenney retired as one of only 3 players with over 11,000 all-purpose yards.
Then you had John Henry Johnson. With a name like that, he's a fullback. He's got to be John Henry Johnson. Boom, boom.
Johnson scored a career-high 9 touchdowns in 1954, which was also quarterback Y.A. Tittle's best season in San Francisco, throwing for over 2,200 yards. Tittle became the first football player to make the cover of Sports Illustrated.
They threw a lot, too. They'd put up points, and they were exciting.
With each of our number 4 players ranking among the best ever, making the group 1 number on our list has drawn its share of critics.
It's kind of a slight to those guys.
You guys should make a decision. Come on.
I think you have to take all 4 into account to make it at number 4, because otherwise any one of them alone, no.
For the life of me, I can't figure out why Frank Gore and Patrick Willis are on that list and Bob Sinclair is not. Bob Sinclair's in the Hall of Fame.
He played his high school, college, and professional games at Kezar Stadium.
A towering tackle, St. Clair stood 6'9".
He was a giant among men. You just didn't have players that big in that era.
St. Clair devoured defensive ends and other less conventional cuisines.
The Geek. I mean, they call him the Geek because he ate raw meat.
I would take dove hearts. A kid from Nebraska came over and said, "What are you doing with that pile of hearts?" And I said, "Why, I'm going to eat them."
One of the most badass things ever.
That would also describe the hitting style of linebacker Hardy Brown.
He was a guy that was legendary, probably the most feared hitter of the NFL in the 50s. He would just sort of coil up and just unload with his shoulder. He'd have trouble playing in the NFL today, I can tell you that.
Those guys were tough, but the toughest 49er of all comes in at number 3.
The number 3 49er of all time, defensive back, Ronnie Lott.
Oh my God, where do we start?
Fearless.
Intimidating. Hard-hitting.
Winner.
The Joe Montana of the defense, that's Ronnie Lott.
The number 3 49er of all time, Lott was selected 8th overall in the 1981 draft.
He came in from day one from SC and set a standard that he never relinquished.
Ronnie Lott intercepts. He's in for 6 points for San Francisco.
He was part of that backfield. Dwight Hicks and his hot licks. 3 rookies in that secondary in '81. Ronnie wound up just being great forever.
Oh, you try to go into the game feeling that you're better than the receiver. You want to try to intimidate them.
In the era when we played, when you could really smack people, Ronnie Lott was one of the tough guys at that time.
He hit people so hard that their families felt it.
Even people that got hit hard for a living thought he hit hard.
Now, hits on defenseless receivers are outlawed, but when Ronnie Lott played, many were hesitant to travel over the middle.
Oh my gosh!
Guys are thinking twice about running over to his side of the field.
You would see him have no regard for his body and just throw himself into collisions.
He's lucky Roger Goodell wasn't a commissioner trying to take the nastiness out of the game of football, because Ronnie Lott would have owed the league money when his season was over.
Lott saved his best for the Bengals' Ickey Woods in Super Bowl 23.
Oh, he nailed.
That was a turning point in that game.
I mean, Ickey Woods did not want to touch the football after having Ronnie Lott barrel into him.
That hit on Ickey Woods set the tone.
Ronnie Lott coming up and really put a belt on it.
He is a guy that made that defense tough enough to complement that great offense.
He made you want to play harder. You never, ever thought you were doing enough, that you didn't have more to give.
Lott secured the number 3 spot on our list by giving the 49ers the finger.
Ronnie Lott hurt his left hand on that play. I'm sure he has one of those fractures where the bone comes through the skin, because there is blood involved in that thing.
This idea that they broke out a Ginsu knife on the sideline, chop it off, you're going back in. Not quite the way that it happened.
Getting that thing crushed late in the season, still playing in the playoffs with a crushed finger, and then it's not going to be ready for the start of the season.
He could have surgery and not play, or he could have it cut off and play.
I chose to get the finger amputated. Cut off his finger? Yeah. Doesn't need it? Yeah, that sounds about right. That's Ronnie.
The number 3 Niner of all time, Lott earned a bust in Canton. But was he the best defender in 49ers history?
When you're known best for your biggest hits and your little pinky, yeah, you deserve to be called the best defender in 49ers history.
There's no question. I don't even think there's a close second.
Great spot for Ronnie Lott. Top 3, but no higher.
No, Ronnie's not high enough.
Oh, he should be number 1.
As much as trolley cars and curvy streets, San Francisco has a reputation for great receivers. Back in the day, Gene Washington had big hair and soft hands, and still ranks 4th in 49ers history with over 6,600 yards.
He's a phenomenon, the resident miracle worker. He's also very good.
Speaking of reputations,
boy, people didn't probably think my head could get any bigger.
The team's second all-time receiver, Terrell Owens, was known as much for his bravado as his ability to make a play.
Who can make a play? I can!
But after playing nearly half his career with 4 other teams,
Do you got your popcorn ready? I got a bag of popcorn for you.
this colorful character wore too many colors to make our list.
They hate to love me! They still love to hate me, bro!
Known as a solid second receiver, John Taylor was the first NFL player with 2 touchdowns over 90 yards in the same game.
He's to midfield. He's got a blocker in front of him. He's to the 10. He's to the 5. John Taylor, another spectacular touchdown.
But when it comes to 49ers making catches, our number 2 player was second to none.
The number 2 49er of all time, receiver Jerry Rice.
So he's number 2 on the 49ers, huh?
Hey, Jerry, you're number 2. In what? He's number 1 in everything.
Because he scored more points than anybody else. That's why he played the game.
What he did on Sundays was so resplendent and unbelievable.
Oh, my! A one-handed catch!
I remember seeing the back of that number running down the field quite a bit.
It's a perfect marriage of athletic genius and work ethic.
There's no way he would let someone outwork him.
Because Jerry Rice is not number 2 in anything. He's number 1 in everything.
Jerry Rice is the all-time receiver.
Greatest receiver.
The best receiver of all time.
Right here, baby, right here. New Orleans, we coming, baby!
Jerry Rice made it to number 2 on our list in part because of his role in 3 49er championships.
The boy is going to party tonight.
Including an MVP performance in Super Bowl 23.
Quick pass for Rice. Touchdown, 49ers.
There was also all 1,281 of his catches as a 49er. The
think about Hail Jerry in Cincinnati in '87.
49ers will have a chance to throw one. Here's Montana throwing for the end zone. Rice leaps. He's got it.
The one where he set the all-time record for touchdowns. The Raiders knew exactly what was coming.
Jerry Rice is the touchdown scorer of the century.
As the hardest working man in football, Rice earned All-Pro honors 11 straight times.
His work ethic was such that if you just watched him, you would think that that's a guy fighting for a roster spot.
If I didn't love this game, I wouldn't be doing it.
Nobody could stay with him running that hill over there in Atherton. Go over there and I'm going to run a hill with Jerry, but he'd leave you in the dust.
I ran it one time. That's it. That's all I could take. It made logical sense that he would be the best because he cared the most, tried the hardest, and was the most maniacal about it.
Why did you dance? Why did you dance?
As great as Rice was, it's hard for me to look past the Dancing with the Stars. It's hard for me to put him higher than number 2.
After a career that rewrote the record book, some say number 2 isn't good enough for Jerry Rice.
I go with Jerry Rice, who's not only the greatest 49er of all time, but in my opinion, the greatest football player of all time.
Jerry is number 1 football player of all time, right?
He's a champion, a Hall of Famer, and the number 1 player on the top 100.
If you want to go for the greatest football player in NFL history, and he's the greatest 49er player, then Jerry Rice is it.
And now, the number 1 49er of all time, Joe Cool, Joe Montana.
Joe Montana clearly, without a doubt, was the greatest 49er of all time.
Oh, yeah, that's no brainer.
That's not even debatable.
Joe Montana is the greatest human being ever born.
Greatest quarterback of all time.
Touchdown!
More important than all presidents.
Nobody's ever done it as well as Joe Montana.
Just complete control of the offense.
He could bring peace to the Middle East.
Talking about the best quarterback that has ever lived.
Joe Montana, I'll say he is the best who's ever played the game.
In fact, I think Joe Montana could run all nations. I love Joe Montana.
I grew up a 49er fan. I remember what it was like before Joe Montana.
For the 49ers, these were the worst of times.
Everything that happened for this franchise, it started with number 16.
Jerry Rice may be the greatest player of all time, but Joe Montana takes the top spot on our list as the greatest 49er, having transformed the NFL's doormat into the team of the decade in the 80s, winning 4 Super Bowls.
Touchdown 49ers!
And the 49ers have won the Super Bowl.
And the Bay Area may begin its celebration.
The 49ers become the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls since the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Joe was kind of one of those rare, iconic figures you come across in sports where they cross over to pop culture.
I know Joe Montana's supposed to be really great.
He's like Jesus. He came from God. He was put on this earth for all women and children to love him.
34 years to get this development.
His best physical tool was his accuracy. He could put the ball exactly where he wanted it.
It was a perfect throw by Joe Montana.
When the ball is snapped, he has the ability to know where everybody is and what they're going to do.
You'll often see Joe look at this guy, look at this guy, look at this guy, then maybe go back to this guy.
Montana just knows where everybody's going to be before they get there.
Anytime the 49ers trailed in any part of the fourth quarter, the assumption was, well, the Niners will win. Montana's back there.
Montana rolling out the right, throwing under pressure, throws his pass, caught by Clark.
When the pressure is on, Joe just slows everything down.
There was never a set of circumstances that were going to be too dire for Joe Montana to overcome.
He was Joe Cool.
Well, obviously, the best comeback was Super Bowl 23.
The overall importance of the game, it was for the Super Bowl. And what does he do? He points into the stands and says, hey, there's John Candy.
You'd look at the defense, and you'd see it in their eyes, because they knew as well as you knew what an advantage it was to have Joe.
When you talk about Super Bowl, driving a team down, that's the ultimate right there.
Montana throws, touchdown, 49ers! The 49ers have scored with 34 seconds remaining.
Choosing the game's greatest quarterback over the greatest player of all time wasn't easy.
Jerry Rice or Joe Montana?
Well, that's a great question, but I mean,
Wow.
That's like asking me which of my kids do I love more.
All right, Montana is heads and Rice is tails.
Jerry Rice is it. Greatest 49er player. Have the guy who scored more points than anybody in NFL history.
You gotta take quarterbacks. Quarterbacks run the show. Quarterbacks do the most.
I would argue that without Jerry Rice, Joe Montana and Steve Young do not have the careers they had.
when we're all in high school, who's the coolest kid in school? Is it the wide receiver or is it the quarterback? It's the quarterback.
If you want to argue Joe Montana as the number 1 49er, I will fight you. You had a team and a city that had never won and could never win. And then Joe Montana came and the whole thing changed. The 49er list, you're putting 16 in the top spot and you're leaving them there.